Hi everyone! So today I'm going to be sharing a personal I Ching reading that I did for myself in June 2021 when I was trying to decide if I should rent a specific house that I had found. And in the meantime, while we don't get actually in the reading, I'm just going to be showing you some books that I have, I Ching books, just to give you something to look at other than my hands. So for those of you that don't know, I use several oracles often to help me make decisions in my life. Tarot, Lenormand, and the I Ching are my favorite ones to use. With the I Ching specifically, since it's a form of bibliomancy, we often get very specific words and sentences that instantly make us feel that the reading is telling us exactly what we need to know. And that is one of the reasons why I love the I Ching so much, the specificity of seeing one word or one sentence that triggers something in us. I really love it. And since the I Ching is, in my experience, the most accurate oracle that I have ever used, it's the one that I use the most and rely the heaviest on when I have to make some decisions and when I feel that I could use additional guidance beyond what my own intuition and own rational thinking is giving me, right? I mean, I believe that a part of the answers that we get from the I Ching also come from our own intuition, but a lot of them I feel are coming from somewhere else, possibly from what some scientists and some people call the noetic information, which from my understanding is all around us and it's not limited by either space nor time, and which can be assessed by using oracles such as the I Ching, the tarot, meditation, dreams, etc. So just to give you a bit of context behind my I Ching reading, in the beginning of June 20, not June, in the beginning of the year, in June 2021, not June, but in 2021, we heard that our lease, from our house that we were renting at the time, was going to end, and we needed to rent a new house. There's a funny story behind this because I actually I believe I found this house because of my manifestation technique that I used, but I'll tell about it in another video. And I actually found a new house in June 2021, but we weren't sure if we should rent it. The new house was actually just a couple neighborhoods, and this is an important detail. The new house that we found was just a couple neighborhoods away from our old house where we were living at the time. But the new house didn't have an elevator, and it was a fourth floor. And the house was actually smaller than our current house at the time. And this made us a bit sad when we found that house. But on the other hand, the house had lots of good things, especially the price. It was very affordable, and it was actually the only house that we could afford that we had found until that time in the city that we wanted to remain in. And it had also lots of sunlight, more than the other house, the old house. It had a football field right in front of it, which was an important thing for us, for our son. And as I said, it was actually quite a miracle that we had found this new house, because we'd been searching for months, and this was the only house that we found in our city that was big enough for us and that we could actually afford without moving to another city. And if we didn't rent this house, we'd probably need to relocate to a different city. And we really didn't want to. We loved living there. the area, our lifestyle and routines, and our friends and family were there in this city that I'm now living in, still living in. So I asked the I Ching if I should. I actually, between me, my husband, and my son, I was the one that I felt deeply inside me that this house was for us. Like I said, I did the manifestation technique. I saw this house in my eyes while I was meditating a month or two before this, before we found the house. So when I met the house, I knew it was it. But since they weren't so, my husband didn't like the aspect that it didn't have an elevator, and he still felt like we still could find an affordable house in the city. So he was the one that was a bit on the fence about renting this house. So and I also wanted some kind of confirmation from the I Ching. So I asked the I Ching if I should rent the house. And the answer that I received at the time, I interpreted as an yes to my question. Yes, I should rent a house. And that reading actually helped me convince my husband, because he also believes in I Ching and tarot, and so it was a good thing that I had the oracle to help me convince him that we should rent a house. So this is how it went. I actually casted the reading on the street, so I didn't have my coins or my I Ching cards with me. Usually I use cards. But sometimes when I'm on the street, I use online websites to make the casting. And this was what I did at that time, which works, by the way. Some users of the I Ching say that it doesn't work, or they are afraid it won't work because of the algorithm and stuff like that, because our hands aren't actually involved in the casting process. But on the other hand, I feel that they are, because we are still clicking the keyboard, right, to make the casting. Obviously, the algorithm might be messed up, but honestly, for me, so far, it has been working for me and giving me accurate answers. So, from my understanding, I will keep using this as far as until I see that it doesn't work for me. But in the meantime, I will keep using it. And then after I did the casting in the street, I went to a couple websites that feature interpretations of the I Ching's original text. And I compared the texts to see if something, some word, some sentence would click for me. For the sake of, I'm going to interrupt with the books for now. For the sake of giving you some visuals, I'm showing you here the resulting hexagram in my I Ching cards, which were created by this amazing artist, Madeva Padma. These are the oracle cards that I use, which are totally based on the I Ching oracle, and they are called the Tao oracle. I've been using this, and the card stock is amazing, very easy to shuffle, very high quality. I really love it. And so the hexagram or chapter of the I Ching that I received as an answer to my question was hexagram 15, which is often called modesty or humility. And some of the ways that I think we can look at this hexagram, from my understanding, is that it can refer to situations where symbolically we are acting, or we should be acting, like a mountain, which is here in the lower trigram, and it is below the earth trigram. If you are just right now beginning to study I Ching, try not to feel too overwhelmed by all this information, because it's my purpose to really show you that reading the I Ching often can be very simple, and quite easily you can get accurate answers, okay? I'm just going to tell you a few things that I've been learning, but you don't need to know these things, okay? You can simply get into the book and read your sentence, and often you'll find specific words or sentences that make sense to you and that will help you make decisions. So, side note aside, so from my understanding, this hexagram can refer to situations where we are acting, or we should be acting, like a mountain, which is big and strong, right, elementally speaking. But instead of being out in the open, the mountain is, and instead of us fully showing our magnificence, instead we are, or we should be, sitting below the earth, which is containing us. Like the mountain, we are, or we should be, modest and keep our expectations realistic and humble. And at the time of the reading, that was exactly what I felt the reading was telling me to do. I needed to be humble, modest, and have realistic expectations of what I would encounter if I kept looking for houses in my city, which would probably be houses that were a lot more expensive than this one that I had found. So no matter their indoor conditions, if we continued looking and actually let go of this potential house, we would probably need to move to another city, which was the most important thing to us, to remain in this city. So I then went straight to read the lines of the text that were changing into a different energy. When we get I Ching readings, we often get what we call changing lines, just if you are a beginning student. So the lines that I received in my reading had this text associated. I believe I took these. I've written this, but I didn't write the source. But I have the feeling I have this one. It's from one website, and this one came from another website. Because sometimes I do this. If I don't have my favorite guidebooks, I Ching Interpretations, next to me, I will often go online and find a few websites that I know, and that often give me the exact sentences that I need to find my answers, okay, that makes sense to me. And I believe this one is from the famous German translator, Wilhelm. I'm not sure though. I will leave the links to each interpretation below if I find them. And the lines that I received were lines 3 and 5. These were the changing lines. And okay, but just a side note, at the time of the reading, I didn't pay much attention to the resulting hexagram, which was hexagram 8, often called union or alliance, I believe. Nowadays, I would look at it and think that one of the things it was possibly telling me is that I was trying to get into an alliance, an union with this new house or with the new property owner, among other potential meanings that I won't get into here now to save some time. And also because at the time when I did the reading, I really didn't look at this relating hexagram. And one of the reasons, as I said, that I want to showcase my readings to show other beginning students of the I Ching that are maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed with the complexity and nuances of this oracle. I want to show you that reading the I Ching can be very easy, as easy as reading lines of a text and interpreting them. And that will often be enough to give us the accurate answers that we need. Not always, but if you are starting out, I think it's a great way to start. Obviously, the more that we learn about the I Ching and learn more strategies of interpretation, like analyzing the trigrams, their combinations, looking at which specificities of which lines are changing, stuff like that. The more that we learn about these layers, the more accurate and reliable will be the answers that we get, and the more experience that we have, the more readings we do also. There are all kinds of layers of interpretation that we can get into, but for beginner users of the I Ching, I want you to know that you don't have to go into all of those things in order to get accurate, useful answers, okay? So after this huge side note, I'm going to read what the line said. Okay, so for line 3, what I read was, a superior man of modesty and merit carries things to conclusion. Do not doubt. Good fortune. So when I read this sentence, immediately I thought that by mentioning modesty, I felt that the I Ching was saying that I shouldn't make too many demands of the new house, and that I should appreciate it for the things it actually had, the affordable price, the good neighborhood, good parking space, right? And I should appreciate those things, and that would make me happy. That would be enough. I didn't need to, and I shouldn't be having too high expectations of a house, because with the real estate market at the time in my country, which is Portugal, it would be very hard, and still today it's even worse. It would be very hard to find such an affordable house like we did. And I actually know a lot of people that had to leave their houses and their city. They actually lived in my city and they had to leave the city after, exactly at the same time when I had to leave because of the real estate situation. And many people, I have a close friend that had to move away 1 hour and a half away from the city where I am because she couldn't afford a new house in the same city. So it was really a miracle that I actually found this house. But a part of me, and mostly my husband, was a bit on the fence about this house, and he actually believed that we could still find another house in this city. And we also got line 5, which said, if you are not affluent, use your neighbor's wealth. And this was an important word that I saw here, but let me just continue. Advantageous to attack. There is nothing for which this will not be advantageous. Sorry if I'm saying this wrong. So this part right here was very important for me. This part, use your neighbor's wealth. And actually, if you see, this is where I think it's so beautiful, the synchronicities, the power of synchronicities. Because if I went to another, I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe that Wilhelm's version, which is this one, actually has another way of saying this sentence. And I believe he says something that would make me feel, if I had read it, would make me feel that I should not use my neighbor's wealth or something like that. It's not like how I'm saying it right now, but it's the feeling that I have when I read his sentence. But the universe acted in such a way that it made me, as I was reading the first one, I don't know why, and I decided, let me go check with the other sentence, another source. I believe that was what happened. So somehow my intuition, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, the gods, as some old diviners would say, probably, something made me want to go look into another version. And when I found this version, it clicked. This sentence, use your neighbor's wealth. And when I read this, I remembered that the new house that we were looking to rent was actually a neighbor to the old house. It was a couple neighborhoods around our old house. And so, since I needed a new house, I should use my neighbor's wealth or house, right? Because a house can be representative of wealth, right? So this was really important for me. When I look into it, I really had my confirmation. I could be wrong, but it was actually in line with what I was feeling regarding the house. So it really was very important for me when I read this sentence. Later on, I also read that Wilhelm, the German translator and researcher of the I Ching, who I believe said this sentence, he also said about this hexagram, and I'm going to quote here, "The wealth of the earth, in which a mountain is hidden." The mountain is hidden under the earth, remember? "The wealth of the earth, in which a mountain is hidden, is not visible to the eye." And I interpreted this as also saying that this new house didn't seem wealthy or very good in the eyes of some people, and especially in the eyes of my husband, because it was a humble house. It didn't have an elevator, and it was a small house, and a bit smaller actually than our older house. But its wealth, the wealth of this new house, was a bit hidden and only visible to the eyes of other people, wiser people, people that would follow the advice of the I Ching. It was a house that had treasures of other kinds, like the most important one for me, for us, which was an affordable price that would help us remain in the same city, but also good neighbors, easy parking. And so I felt that I should, at the time I didn't know about the good neighbors. I just had the feeling that they would be good neighbors, but I could be wrong. But the easy parking, that was visible. So I felt that I should act like these wise people and see those and pay more attention to those hidden wealth treasures of the house, or at least to try to make my husband see them, because I kind of already knew, you know. By the way, if you're liking this video so far, I'd really appreciate it if you could give me a like, a thumbs up. It really helped me to grow my channel. Thank you so much. So the reading confirmed what I was feeling, that I should be thankful, that I even had found a house that I could afford in the city that I wanted, and that it wasn't wise to keep on looking for other houses. I probably wouldn't find a more affordable house or a house with better conditions in the time that I had left in my contract. Often the I Ching suggests that we do something that is completely not what we want to do. This has happened to me several times. And sometimes this makes me a bit angry at the I Ching. But this time around, its advice was really aligned with what I felt like I needed and I also wanted to do. And even though my husband wasn't quite as happy with the house that I was, especially not happy about the lack of elevator, we still ended up renting the house, because he realized that we most likely wouldn't be able to remain in the city if we kept looking, and missed this opportunity. So we did go ahead to rent the house, and I actually used the I Ching to help me make a few decisions throughout the paperwork process. And things since then have been going great. The house is not perfect, obviously, but overall we're very happy that we stayed here. My husband often goes to the football field to play with my son, and we finally found some neighbors that my son could play with. He couldn't play with them in the old house, and we've gotten used to the stairs. I personally don't mind it too much, honestly. It's terrible when we have grocery bags to carry, right? But I can deal with that. If that means I can stay in the same city where my mom is, where our friends are, where my son can still keep the same school, the same friends, you know, that was very important to us. And while the house is a bit small, it's still good enough for us at the moment. Considering the real estate market, it was obviously a miracle house, and we were very lucky to have found it. And we got to keep our routines and remain in our city that we love. So I hope this reading was helpful to you. I'd love if you let me know what you thought of this reading and if you had any other interpretations that came to your mind, or if you'd like to share one of your I Ching readings in the comments or in a video, just let me know. I would love to see other people's readings with the I Ching. I think we learn a lot from other people's experiences. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!